Welcome everyone to our latest in the Resurrection Tales. And I want to start with a true story from my own experience with Basma. When we were living in Jordan, Basma, through her work, which was working with Swedish Save the Children and the governmental ministry, met a lady called Wael, the mother of Wael. She was married to a man and they were very poor. He sold lottery tickets by the side of the road. You can imagine how much income he got from that. And yet they had a number of children, 5 or 6, the oldest of which was Wael, hence Wael, it means mother of Wael. And he had 1 or 2 medical problems, and we helped him through that, or helped them through that in some small way. And as a result, Wael invited us to her house for a meal. And we knew that she was a Palestinian refugee, and so when we got to her house, it was more or less as we expected. A very poor house in a refugee camp without much space. And yet she made us, her guests, extraordinarily welcome. She cooked a dish which is the traditional national dish of Palestine, called masachen. One of you may have had it from us. It's a chicken dish with bread and onions and a spice called samat and onions, and at least for me it's absolutely delicious. She spent lavishly on her guests. For her, a poor woman, this would have been an immense sacrifice. Of course, we could only graciously accept her gift of hospitality. And as you can tell, I'm still talking about it over 30 years later. Hospitality. It is part of the fabric of Middle Eastern life to this day. Absolutely vital. And indeed it was back in Jesus' time. You find a number of times in the scriptures we are commended to be hospitable, to show hospitality to others. And so back to our resurrection tale of the Emmaus Road. There's Cleopas and his companion walking down the road with the stranger, whom we know to be Jesus, but they don't yet know that. And they're coming to the end of the walk, the 7-mile walk to Emmaus. And quite naturally and quite properly in their culture, they invite him in. They show hospitality to the stranger. And he comes in, and as we'll see in the next tale, in a way he shows hospitality to them. We need to show that same hospitality. In this time of COVID-19, it's actually quite difficult. We can't invite people round to our houses. We can't give them meals. But we can still be hospitable in our hearts. We can still give to the food bank, as indeed we are as a benefice right now. Look on the notice sheet, you'll see there is the opportunity to give towards the food bank. We should be doing all we can. And when all this finishes, we should perhaps be saying, how can I be hospitable? It really doesn't matter if we live in a mansion or a small house. It doesn't really matter if it's tea and cake or if it's a banquet. It doesn't matter in the sense that it's the heart showing hospitality that counts. Are we hospitable? I remember a friend of ours who is actually a very, very good chef, working in London at the head of a number of restaurants, a friend of Jamie Oliver and the rest. And he said to us once, you know, I never get invited round. People are afraid to invite me in case their food is not good enough. He said it doesn't matter. The food is not the point. It's the invitation. I'm just grateful to be invited. And so I think it is in hospitality. Don't worry if you think your food is too poor, your cooking skills not good enough. It's the hearts that matters. We are hospitable to one another, and, as in this case, to the stranger in our midst. Let us pray. Father God, help us to be hospitable to the stranger and friend alike, and so do as Jesus commanded. Amen.